1983, there were few souls braver than director Richard Franklin and screenwriter Tom Holland. Showing off their huge cojones, the duo tackled one of the riskiest and most seemingly unnecessary sequels imaginable. A follow-up to Alfred Hitchcock's flawless, beloved, and genre-defying horror classic, Psycho.
Are you satisfied, Doctor? Turning a murderer loose on an innocent public?
Defying all the odds, Franklin and Holland's resulting film, Psycho 2, is the ultimate pleasant surprise. Catching up with Norman Bates 22 years after a psycho murder spree, the sequel focuses more on Bates than Hitchcock's movie, which used the character as a crucial supporting player. After the Universal Studios logo slowly goes a full rotation, we see the famous shower sequence from Hitchcock's Psycho in its entirety. Having this legendary sequence as our introduction spoke more to audience familiarity with the original film than building a proper beginning. Nevertheless, when Psycho 2 steps away from the original, sets its own story in motion, and establishes that it's paying genuine homage but not mimicking Hitchcock, it reveals itself to be a spectacular sequel.
Norman!
Psycho 2 finds Bates questioning his sanity while back in the residence where he stashed Mother's body, and Franklin makes great use of the familiar environment, holding his camera on the iconic location from Hitch's flick as an anticipation grinder for viewers steeped in that film's imagery. The sequel still manages to satisfy anyone who wants to catch up with Mother's favorite and get a few genuine jokes in the process. It's an unlikely triumph, no question. So why are we talking about Psycho 2 in an analysis video of The Matrix Resurrections? Because Psycho 2 is the antithesis of the movie we'll be discussing today. Psycho 2 is a film that rightfully went in a different direction and succeeded. Of course, there's no way it could live up to the original, so they turned the story of Norman on its head and made him as much of a sympathetic character as they could. It's never particularly scary, but at least it has the best rail killing outside of 1988's Space Mutiny.
I just wish I had Jesse's gown!
Oh, he had a mouthful of Starburst.
Well, then they TP'd him. Nice.
And the end is such a great bait and switch. It's just a straight up fun movie. Now, let's talk about The Matrix.
Free your mind.
The Wachowski siblings blew people's minds in the spring of 1999 when they unveiled The Matrix.
Whoa.
An action film that merged science fiction, dystopian drama, kung fu cinema, and pre-millennium tension, giving us a new cinematic world while popularizing cutting-edge special effects. Though, let us never forget that Blade did it first. The Matrix inspired two lucrative sequels, with 2003's Reloaded and Revolutions, but since then the Wachowskis have struggled to capture the zeitgeist as memorably and with such ingenuity, though Speed Racer was pretty awesome. Now, nearly 20 years later, we're back with The Matrix Resurrections. Measuring this movie against the original trilogy is like comparing Christmas as an adult to Christmas as a child. You get the same decorations, do the same traditions, follow the same routine, and even though nothing feels like it once did, that's also sort of the point? Is that the point? Is that the point?
We had style, we had conversation, not this
Okay, basic plot. After dying in Revolutions, Neo and Trinity are resurrected by the Analyst, an AI that oversees a new version of the Matrix powered by fear and desire, using Neo and Trinity as sort of an infinite fear, desire generator to base human experience off of, or something like this.
I was about to give up when I realized
Trinity.
It was never just you.
In this new Matrix, Neo is Tom Anderson, a depressed video game designer famous for creating a massively popular game trilogy, unconsciously based upon his previous life titled You guessed it, The Matrix. Trinity lives a happily married with children life as Tiffany, a woman who frequents Tom's favorite coffee shop and the object of his distant affections. Morpheus, who survived in revolutions and presumably led a full life in the post-apocalyptic reality, now exists as a video game NPC in Tom's new game Binary, based on an amalgamation of Neo's memories of Morpheus and Agent Smith, thus explaining Lawrence Fishburne and Hugo Weaving's absences, though they might as well be credited in the movie considering how much footage from the original trilogy is shown.
Nothing comforts anxiety like a little nostalgia.
At focus groups, annoying corporate marketing types brainstorm ideas for a new Matrix, chucking around the usual blithering nonsense about brand and keywords. They debate terms like reboot and reimagining, whilst Neo reluctantly rolls his eyes, feeling traumatized by flashes of breakthrough memory of the earlier films that he's told are delusions. There are even debates about what the original was about, an allegory for the transgender experience, the condemnation of capitalism. You decide.
Cannot be another reboot, retread, regurgitate.
Why not? Reboot sell.
This is an odd sequel, no doubt about it. Resurrections effectively makes an argument against its own existence, attempting to take on Hollywood's obsession with franchises.
So deja vu, and yet it's obviously all wrong.
Why use old code to mirror something new?
I don't know.
This line of dialogue refers explicitly to odd redundancies within the fictional Matrix itself. It's not a particularly subtle dig at nostalgia-infused Lego sequels, and the film remains overt, crafting a meta-narrative in which Neo has been plugged back in and convinced that his memories of the familiar Matrix trilogy are in fact part of his own creations as a video game developer. From there, the film weaves in old and new elements to expand on the themes of the original film and give us a radically self-aware treatise on something. This is a movie that is made up almost entirely of good-ish ideas. The problem is that it's not a good movie. It's a bunch of individually neat ideas stacked like those kitchen chairs in Poltergeist. Cleverness is met with laughably bad execution at nearly every turn.
Oh yeah? There she is. Total effing MILF.
And let us all agree that we all could have gone our entire lives without hearing the word MILF in a Matrix movie.
I'm sure you can understand why our beloved parent company Warner Brothers has decided to make a sequel to the trilogy.
What?
They informed me they're gonna do it with or without us.
As far as fourth wall breaking meta storytelling, there is value to be found there, but honestly, The Matrix isn't the vehicle for it. If this was like the 10th movie, the meta joke might be funny because the story well would have been truly dried up, and going this route would certainly be more entertaining than a genuine 10th attempt to continue the story, but it's not. It's the fourth movie, after a long break. There are many ways to make a movie that takes itself seriously and tells a compelling story that continues the saga.
I remember this.
Showing clips from the old movie and making similar scenes, it's almost like they forcibly shoved your face in it while screaming, "This is what you wanted, right? Are you not entertained?"
Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
They do indeed call out all their expected criticisms in the montage with the development team, but so what? You are not absolved. It's like, we get it. All these annoying characters are referencing real-world people. We get that it's making fun of itself in endless sequels, but at the end of the day, if all this doesn't make for a good story, then it's all worthless.
Films, books, they were all better. Originality mattered.
Multiple times, characters are calling us idiots for even being interested in the movie. Meravigian is screaming at us and claiming our desire for basic entertainment and comfort is destroying art.
You gave us space to suck and couch flicks, criminy wiki business.
This is a childish tantrum of a movie, poignantly noxious in places to drive home a point. This wouldn't be so bad if this were merely a bad Matrix movie, but not like this. Not like this.
Not like this. Not like this.
The fighting choreography has been neutered in exchange for invisible shields and stormtrooper accuracy with guns. Where's the physicality of the movie? Where's the hand-to-hand combat? Where's the struggling to breathe as you and your opponent pummel each other into the ground? The closest we got was Agent Smith in a nostalgic bait moment.
Anderson and Smith.
Awkward fight scenes and weird visual choices like the jittering of characters in fight scenes, or bullet time seemed, as many others have pointed out, intentionally bad. Both the Wachowskis know how to shoot an action scene. We've seen enough of their movies to know this. One can only be left to assume the action was sloppy because it's an intentional choice by a director literally telling us to eat shit right from the get-go.
This isn't happening. It's in my mind. It's in my mind.
This felt like a fan-made parody/sequel with budget problems. Despite the fact that this reportedly had a budget of nearly $200 million, there weren't enough wide shots and everything was tightly framed so that there was no need for big sets. The effort in training to make the fight scenes good was not the same as in the original movies, and the effects, well, it's CW TV show level effects, and they turned the Merovingian into a joke. The fact that the closing credits song was sang by somebody who recently pissed in a fan's face on stage is way too on the nose. The discourse surrounding this film can be pretty well summed up by the following. This movie sucks. Yeah, but it's meta. Yes, but it isn't good. Genius meta commentary. It's telling us that it's bad. If the meta commentary was there and the story was also well executed, that's one thing. Inserting meta into a bad fan fiction doesn't make a story worth telling. As it stands, it comes off as disingenuous and abrasive.
But here's the thing. The sheeple aren't going anywhere. They like my world.
It is not some impossible task to take a property people love and create something new and enjoyable from it. It's just difficult. If Psycho could do it, then so could The Matrix. What they should have done is given the Matrix franchise to a director-writer team that had an interesting story to tell, rather than the OG director who had an axe to grind with the fan base.
That's the thing about stories. They never really end, do they?
Now, with all that being said, if you want to watch a meta sequel classic done right, just watch The Human Centipede 2. Great movie. Thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section below.